I used to be ashamed of my inconsistencies. Now I revel in them. Everything is in conflict. Everything has an opposite. You are not bound to be one thing, a truly liberating notion for me. You might tell the truth or you might lie. You might be kind or unkind, selfish or generous, quick or thick. And in the midst of that confusion and that tumult, the work blossoms. To have meaningful work is a salvation. And one of my greatest pleasures is to stare at things. And my children always say that I get too close to people, strangers on the street, and just stare at them, at their features, because I'm so entranced. So I have to be pulled away a little bit. But then I can go into my studio and report on what I have encountered. And then as a bonus, the bliss of mixing colors, of being alone and listening to music, and going into another world. Here's a painting from a visit that I did to Cézanne's studio. The walls are painted gray. This is the recipe for any of those who need it. Black, white, ochre, and aquamarine. Now, as a talisman, every painting I do includes Cézanne gray. Writing, of course, is different. Finding the idea, plucking a word out of the air, but which word, and then a sentence, but which sentence, and then a paragraph, and which paragraph, and it never stops. So many words. I could not live without both painting and writing, and one supports the other in obvious ways. In both, the struggle is invisible but palpable. I say the tears are invisible, but they're definitely there. How do I deal with never good enough? Easy. Self-loathing is a truly ugly expression, but it is an unavoidable condition. The crushing anxiety of not getting it right, of not finding the truth, of feeling worthless. If you look at it one way, it could be helpful to have doubt and dismay. Plowing through the muck of despair leads to a sense of humanism and perseverance. On the other hand, how absurd and tedious to be in the grips of self-doubt. What a waste of time, that insidious insecurity. What of finding your work and your place on earth? What of self-confidence? What of the bliss of finding the right color or the right word? What of sheer joy? What is wrong with that? Nothing, absolutely nothing. After reading the obituaries, I go for a walk, which is a salvation. Here is Robert Walser, who wrote one of my favorite books called The Walk, which I highly suggest you read. Walking and not thinking is the favorite state. An empty brain, which I call my best brain, is the only way to have any ideas, to allow surprises to appear. Solvitur ambulando, they thought of this before I did, long ago. Walking solves all problems, without trying. Walking leads to the pleasure of sitting, perhaps on a bus going down Fifth Avenue, and looking at the entire world around you with a great sense of well-being. One day at a farmer's market, I saw a woman carrying an absolutely gigantic cabbage. When I asked to photograph her, she looked really annoyed. And for some reason, I was so delighted by her crankiness. It seemed so authentic and true. Let's just say what we feel. It made me think of all the things women hold literally and metaphorically. Balloons and grudges and heavy loads and cabbages and stupendous love and courage and a pink ukulele under a cherry tree. And from this, a book was formed, Women Holding Things. What do women hold? The home and the family and the children and the food, the friendships, the work of the world and the work of being human, the memories and the troubles and the sorrows, and the triumphs and the love. Men do as well, but not quite in the same way. Sometimes, when I'm feeling particularly happy or content, I think I can provide sustenance for legions of human beings. I can hold the entire world in my arms. Other times, I can barely cross the room, and I drop my arms, frozen. There is never an end to holding, and certainly there is often the feeling of never doing enough. And then there is the next day, and the next day, and one holds on. I dreamt someone else was stupid for a change. Such a relief, albeit a fleeting one. A few years ago, I did an illustrated edition of the autobiography of Alice B. Toklas, written by the inimitable Gertrude Stein. Alice and Gertrude lived a singular life, one of intense creativity and equally intense domesticity, and one could not exist without the other. That, to me, is the ideal of life, family and work. My son Alex and I made a short film called My Name is Alice B. Toklas, and for a brief day, I became Alice with 2 extra noses on my nose. Here is a short clip from the end of the film.
It took Picasso 90 sittings to paint Gertrude Stein's portrait. Nobody thought it looked like her, but he said, "Don't worry, it will." But actually, I don't know if he knew anything about what he was talking about. Oh, and you know Picasso, he was impossible. Thank you very much. Oh, this looks delicious. Absolutely delicious.
The hot dog was delicious, and dancing down Fifth Avenue was a complete joy, and as we say in our family, doing almost everything. In the strangeness of life, through the sorrows of life, live. Thank you very much.